Hello and welcome to this next episode of Talking Diaries, where we at NWS Ghaziabad bring a new topic, a new discussion every time. And this time, we are going to talk about something that has been bothering government lobbies for a long time. Should we reopen our schools or not? Schools have been shut since March 2020. It has been more than a year now, and students are sitting at home enjoying their e learning. But are they really enjoying? Are they bothered about it? How much is e-learning benefiting them? Uh, well, I think we can answer this with the fact that most of the parents, as well as students, as well as teachers, everybody who is associated with the education fraternity is trying to pressurize government to reopen the schools. But can we reopen our schools or not? I have four wonderful panelists with me. These are the four students from 11th grade of NWS Ghaziabad. I have got Saksham, I've got Shraddha, Shagun, and Ujwal, who are going to help me understand and help all of us understand a student's perspective. As a teacher or as a policy maker, we guys have been doing our debates and discussions and bringing in facts and figures from all over the world, trying to figure out solutions. But one thing that we did not do till now was to talk to students. So this is NWS attempt to talk to students and try to figure out what do they think. Should we reopen our schools or not? And I'll start with Saksham. Saksham, over to you. What do you think?
Yes, sir. So before telling the school should get open or not, firstly let us discuss why we were locked up in our home since 1 to 2 years. This is because of spread of novel COVID-19, which is coronavirus disease. It is an infectious disease caused by newly discovered coronavirus. It is transmitted from respiratory organs with an infected person to a healthy person. The person who falls sick with this COVID-19 will experience moderate to severe illness for 4 to 6 weeks, which is much painful. And in those 4 to 6 weeks, his body will undergo from shortness of breathing, fatigue, tiredness, and etc. Now let us discuss why schools were shut for a long time. It actually in December 2019, first COVID case was found in Wuhan, China. Due to increasing of COVID cases in one and another countries were getting shut. Now in January 2020, first Indian COVID case was found. Due to increasing of COVID cases and lack of medical availability, the government of India decided to shut the school for children as their precautions.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say. What Saksham said is a really serious topic, and we can't afford opening our schools right now. We already know the first and the second wave has adversely affected our students' life and their mental health. And nowadays, we are at the edge of the third stage of COVID, where doctors' estimation says that it will be more effective to children. So we can't even think of opening our schools right now.
It may look like that online education is very beneficial for the kids as it brings education right to your home. But there is another side to it. Courses that were traditionally delivered just in university settings are now open to anyone anytime they want to learn for free. But the problem is that most people sign up for these courses, start the course, but the vast majority never finishes. And the data says that only 5% of the people actually finish the whole course. So after this data was released, a group of researchers came up with a solution, which they said will let people finish the whole course. They came up with 5 ways, which include long-term planning, short-term planning, value relevance, mental contrasting, and social accountability. Long-term planning, they ask you what are your dreams for the future and they tell you how this course is going to help you achieve them. Short-term planning, what are your goals for this week? Value relevance, they discuss how mental material learning from this course will add value to your life. Mental contrasting, here students think of all barriers they might hit that would stop them from completing the course. Social accountability, this is where people ask friends, family, colleagues to periodically check in with them to see how they're doing. Now, over the course of 2.5 years, every online course offered by Harvard, MIT, Stanford included one of these behavioral science intervention at the beginning of the course. But then after 2.5 years, the percentage of people who actually finished the whole course was the same. So after all of this research, the situation remained the same. And I think that same thing happens in the online class. When we have a normal conversation like in-person conversation, it's called a high fidelity conversation. It means that you can see their face, you can see their body language, and we humans are social animals. So just by looking at the face and the body language, we can tell what the other person is trying to express. But when we give 100% attention to the person who is speaking on a Zoom call, we don't have that level of transparency. It's just a bit of audio and a blurry video. Now our brain is actually using more neurons in order to understand what the other person is saying. Now in a way, you get tired very easily. And that's the reason 1 in every 5 kids in India attend their online class from bed. Out of the total number of children surveyed, 53% uh, felt tired at the end of the day due to online classes. 41% children complained of eye strains. And there is an organization called Pratham, according to which 1 in 10 rural households in rural India has a smartphone. So there is a huge digital divide. In rural areas, schemes like midday meal provide free lunch to children. So forget education. These children are not even getting proper nutrition just because they can't go to school. Apart from this, there are many disadvantages. The student feedback is very limited in the online classes. It causes social isolation, lack of communication skill development, cheating prevention during the online assessment is complicated, and it is inaccessible to computer illiterate population. Especially for younger kids, it is very important to open school as quickly as possible because in the early stages of child development, they do need social interaction. Otherwise, it can hamper their personality development. Plus, children have a much better immunity system compared to adults, so they are less likely to get COVID.
Okay, it's good that children have better immunity than adults. Maybe it's twice, or maybe it's 4 times better than adults. But better immunity does not guarantee 100% safety. We have lost around 4 million people across the world. Are we ready to sacrifice 1 million kids? I also have a younger brother, and I am not ready to sacrifice him. Are you?
I want to counter you, Shraddha. I understand that health is more important, but we cannot neglect our learning and education here. If something is important for you, then you will find a way. And for example, I want to give an example of Japan. Japan has broadcasted their lectures on radio so that their students get benefit from it. So they have found a way. We should also move towards solution, not excuses.
Okay, this discussion is going good, and what I have understood so far is that there is a pandemic which is kind of harmful. A lot of deaths have happened. A lot of people, many people have lost their loved ones, and otherwise many people got infected, which badly affected their health. And for children, it's not easy to cope up with those kind of scenarios and get into education. At the same time, while going into online learning, e-education, or virtual classrooms, uh, it is required because of the pandemic, but it is not helpful. There are certain problems associated with that as well. However, I also feel that if we take proper precautions, perhaps we can kind of find a way around that. But before we start talking about precautions, I have one question for all 4 panelists that are here. And that question, so guys, hear me out. This is what you have to do. I'm going to put this question in front of you, but you do not have to answer from a general perspective or thinking about rest of the world. You just have to think about yourself. You are all students who have just graduated and come into 11th grade. Soon you will graduate into grade 12, where you have to face board exams. Last year you have faced board exams during the lockdown period. Whatever methodology was used by CBSE, all that said and done, how much are you enjoying these online classes? I want to know from you your personal experience. Forget about pandemic, forget about what is required, what is not required outside your room where you are sitting, but how good or bad is it for you? So let me do one thing in my screen. On my screen, the first face that I can see is of Shagun. So I'm going to Shagun. Shagun, what is your experience with this online classes?
Sir, experience. I have a very good experience and bad too.
Okay.
Sir, good is the that it do not waste the time in that I can save my traveling time. But
Mhm.
bad is I'm having some problems in my eyes and ear too.
Okay.
And also I miss the fun,
Okay.
all the fun. I want to hold that test tube in my labs. I want to read the
Hmm.
books from library, and I want all that fun in playground and want canteens too. So
Hmm.
offline school is
Lovely.
better than online school.
Interesting. Now I'll move to Shraddha. Shraddha, what do you think?
So, I also think that offline classes are better than online classes because we can't compare online classes with offline classes because we can't have that connect in that online class. But that eye contact which we have that with the teacher is something else, and we miss that in online classes. But having said that, I'm more concerned about our health, so maybe we should think we can open our schools but with some precautions.
Hmm. Fair point. Next, I can see Ujjwal in the queue.
Yes, so that's true that um, online classes saves a lot of time, but at the same time, the interaction between the teachers and student is not uh, that good. So, and plus we don't have facilities like library, playground, chemistry lab, physics lab.
Hmm.
So
Got it.
I think online classes are missing something.
I understand. Saksham, what do you think?
Yes, sir. Sir, according to my opinion, online education is worst as we are not able to perform any sports activity. We are not able to meet our teachers and our friendmates for a long time. So, online education is not much better than offline education.
Hmm. All right. Okay. So these were your personal views. Now, if we have to move towards offline education, if we have to reopen our schools, then the first step is precautions. And since Saksham, you were able to explain us the disease in general, how about you give us some ideas for precautions also? Can you?
Yes, sir. So, before telling what precautions students can take, firstly, let us discuss how COVID enters in our body. Actually, the virus enters via nose, mouth, and our eyes. The virus enters through open sides of our body, which are our nose, mouth, and eyes. If virus enters through our mouth, then it will reach to our stomach. But our stomachs consist of hydrochloric acid, which will kill the virus. So now, if a virus enters through our nose, then through windpipe, it will reach to our lungs, which will create much problem. The virus affects the upper and lower respiratory tract of the lungs. It will create mucus, which will make difficult for the person to breathe easily. So students can use a face mask so that they can cover their both nose and mouth in a proper way. For example, like this. And then they can sanitize their hand for at least 20 seconds in 6 steps. First step, second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, and sixth step.
Hmm. So, what I understand from this is that if we take proper precautions, then to some extent, safety can be ensured. Although proper measures are being taken or not, that will also pose a challenge that how do we ensure that everybody is following all these protocols. So for that we also have, not only we have to lay down strict protocols, but we also have to lay down protocols for the implementation and cross checking of the protocols of safety measures that we have laid down. Shagun, I'll come to you. Do you have any idea how we can open our schools, or how we can implement these protocols, or what system should be there? What do you think?
Yes, sir. Sir, according to me, not wearing mask and putting sanitizer on our hands will is not the only solution.
Mhm.
There are some systems which should be followed so as to cope up with the solution, with the situation. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the shift towards digitalization. So, to keep our academic session going, education system has adopted e-learning programs. So, first solution is e-learning programs. E-learning program is an asynchronous or we can say non-live online methods. So here here we are having some tools of e-learning, which are video conferencing and pre-recorded lectures. Undoubtedly, these have helped students a lot, but they are not much effective. So second, we have our bubble system. Suppose we have 40 students in a class, so we can make 8 bubbles out of it. Each bubble contains 5 students,
Mhm.
and each bubble contains 5 students along with one teacher. So there is a disadvantage with our bubble system, that there are there this will require more teachers, and we have less number of teachers. So we should follow an hybrid system. This system is a combination of both bubble system and e-learning. Suppose we have 8 bubbles in a class, so 4 bubbles will follow e-learning on even days, and 4 bubbles will follow e-learning on odd days. And similarly, that those 4 bubbles which are following e-learning will also follow on the next day, they will also follow offline learning, so that they can alternatively get the benefit from both. So this will help them a lot and will increase the productivity in comparison with e-learning. Here, this is the solution of our senior system. But what about juniors? I have a statement from Dr. Swati Popat Words, President of Early Childhood Association, that is 98% of brain develops in early childhood and new connections are made. So if kids do not receive right care, and if right input is not given to their mind, then they will grow up with few crayons missing in their life's pencil box. So they should have some solutions. According to me, solutions are they should learn by visualizing. Methods of education should be changed. The way they used to transfer their education should be changed, and new activities and innovations should be there. Also, bubble and e-learning, both systems should be followed, and they should get recess and breaks for at least 1.5 hours.
Shagun, you just mentioned that the system should be changed, more activities be introduced, and few other interesting words that you have used. That has forced me to think about one thing. When we moved from physical classes to virtual classes, what we did was whatever we were doing inside the school, the format that we were following or the protocols that we were following, we took everything to online. Exact same timetable, exact same system, just the medium of transferring of knowledge changed from offline to online, but everything else remained same. Whereas I also feel that virtual and physical are two separate worlds, and we should not treat both of them exactly the same. I think yes, we also need to reinvent our education system, the way we are interacting with children, the way we are parting this knowledge, the way we are sharing the knowledge, the way learning happens. But this whole revolution of education system is a far bigger topic, and perhaps we can reserve it for our one of our future talking diaries. So for today, let me come back to what we already have. And yes, Shogun, the whatever you have said, it's brilliant, and I think we can implement that. We can reopen our schools given the precautions that Saksham has suggested. Mixing them both, schools can be reopened. How soon can we do it? How we can do it is another question, which also requires policymakers to jump in. And wonderful statement by Dr. Watts. I think that's actually very beautiful when she says that they will grow up with few crayons missing in their pencil box. This statement goes a long way. It's a very deep statement for those who can understand it. As we move towards the end of this discussion, I would like to I would like my panelists to come back again with a concluding remark, that if they have to give one statement on this topic, what that statement would be. So guys, back to you. So on my screen I can see Shagun as the first person, so why don't we go with that order? Shagun, what are your concluding remarks?
Sir, according to me, wearing mask and putting sanitizer is not only the solutions. The, and modern problems require modern solutions. So we should follow these modern systems which I have described.
Okay, makes sense. Saksham?
Yes, sir. According to me, if precautions are taken strictly, then school administration and government can take a chance by opening the schools.
Though I've always been concerned with one thing, that our younger children, class 1, 2, or nursery, whether they will follow all those precautions or not. I mean, it's very difficult to make those toddlers or young kids, as we appropriately, I should say, it's very difficult to make those young kids follow these kind of strict protocols. But that's how the world is moving. So I think that's the new normal, and we have to live with that. Ujjwal, what about you?
So I think we have to find a new way so that we can deliver the knowledge to the students. And I don't think that the old traditional system is going to work now.
Okay, I'm getting one idea. How about we do this, that we kind of redesign our timetables in such a way that the lecture part stays online, and for all the activities like sports activities or the stuff that you do in your laboratories or library, music room, for these kind of things, you come to school in shifts and in a very organized manner. Perhaps, though this will require a lot of work on the teacher's part, and I, being a teacher, I know it's not an easy thing even when I say that. But perhaps we can think on those lines, and while opening our schools, we can design our curriculum for next session in such a way that some portion of this stays online, because I feel that when we say new normal, this is the new normal where e-learning or virtual learning has penetrated deep into our system, and it will be unfair to completely remove it and go back to the age old system that has caused problems also in many sectors. But then both the systems, they are not 100% perfect, so perhaps we create a blend of both, like the hybrid system that Shagun has also recommended. uh, Use that hybrid system in a very smart way, and not just implement the old timetable on the new hybrid system. With that, I move to Shraddha, what are your views?
Sir, I'm still in the favor of not opening schools, but
Okay.
whatever we have discussed right now, due to health issues only, sir, health risk and all, but whatever we have discussed right now, I think we can open our schools, but by taking extra precautions and all.
Fair point, makes sense. So, yeah, wonderful. I mean, what we have discussed so far, I hope our policymakers, our school managements, they will get some ideas from this, and probably they will also interact with students while they are talking to the parents, and try to understand what students want and how do they want the schools to be reopened. Uh, with this, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has been watching this Talking Diaries episode, and we will be back soon with another interesting topic, with another discussion with a different set of panelists. And for now, please stay safe, use all the safety protocols, and I'll see you again. Bye bye. Thank you.